so far when it comes to Ling villain minifigures that I've got in hand. I've only gotten X-Men villains, and they've been comic book figures. I do have Maximus pre-order that's going to go with my Inhumans figures that I reviewed earlier in the year. You can check the video out in the corner there. And while these figures are cool, I'm also excited to check out their brand new Ego, the Living Planet set that they released, which will be my first MCU movie characters from this brand. See, it comes with two different versions of the human version of the character, one being slightly battle damaged, the other just being the normal human character. But that's not all. You get more with this set, which is probably the main attraction of the figure pack here, being this huge printed planet to represent Ego in planet form. On the back of the packaging here, you can see the usual card setup for Ling, a little bit of a description of the character, a quote, and just rotating it around, you can see that this is just a huge printed piece. It's going to be perfect for representing the comic version of Ego. And we'll get more to the contents of this later, but this is going to be awesome to see. And we already saw the front of the figure cases, but on the back, like I already showed off with the planet, just the quick descriptions there. You can see right there, it is also a collaboration with Bob's Customs. So, packaging out of the way, let's go ahead and get these figures out and toss them on the stand. Just starting off with the planet, it's in its own softball container probably, where you just take the lid off. Both hemispheres are in a separate plastic bag to protect them in shipping, which is nice. Great to see that. It's kind of fun. It comes with its own tile, which is going to be much larger than the typical Ling one, but continuing on my number scheme of 19 out of 40 here. Great to see this. It's kind of fun to get the bigger size, and just nice to keep that pattern going. Both halves just have great printing with a nice level of detail basically everywhere on the part. These are made from Lego Star Wars Planet sets, so you're able to just snap them together like that, and it'll make the whole planet sort of part together. I'll show this off in more detail, and I just put it on a round plate quick to help it stand up, but look at the level of printing on this. The face is great, and just looking around the sort of equator, you can definitely see some of the printing lines up pretty well, which is good. I'm sure they planned for that. But even there, it is kind of nice to have some assorted bits that don't line up perfectly. Adds to the more organic sort of design overall. Like the dark pink over the lighter pink, or I guess that would be dark pink with even darker pink. Blue works great too, representing the powers from the movie. I know this is probably based off of the Lego game in some way, but definitely see the movie influences from certain parts of the final battle scene. Very creative use of this part, like I've already kind of pointed out and will point out again. Very fun to see them go out of their way to make something that is just going to be the perfect representation of Ego, the actual planet, living planet. And this is going to be a cool thing to figure out a way to display in my collection. That being said, let's go ahead and get into the actual figure reviews. First, let's look at the normal Ego figure here. This design is going to be based off of the Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 game, so my opinions aren't going to 100% matter because this is based off of something. It's not like they came up with the design themselves. First thing I'll say is the hairpiece is a little bit goofy. I don't really like the texture and shape of it. I think it's a little too simple and just doesn't fit the sort of design that Lego would do for a hairpiece. Other than that, though, you know what? The detailing is pretty good and matches what it looks like in the movies. The cape is going to be a hard plastic, so you're not going to be able to move it around and pose that. That's a bit unfortunate, but I can understand why some brands would go ahead and do that. Both arms are going to feature some nice pad printing for some armor bits, and I think they might be just mirrored. They look pretty similar to me. And you can see some nice detailing continuing from the torso to the legs, so good, a little bit of continuity there on the detailing. I'm interested to see the legs have some brown boots on them. Let's see the inside. Continues around all the way. So I can go either way on that. I know I always point it out, and then I seem disappointed when they don't have the inside leg printing, but I understand why some people don't include it. But when they do, great to see some extra detail. I love getting more for my buck on a figure. Both sides of the torso is going to have no printing at all. And there's a little bit on the back, but it's covered by the cape. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the molded accessories, and I'm going to throw on the extra head. And that is going to be a very neutral dark pink head, which is going to be pretty close to the color of the planet. Yanked right out of the game. Didn't really look like this in the movie at all. You can see there's a little bit of dark gray towards the top of the hair on both sides there. So a little bit of extra color that you might not expect. And on the back, you just get more of those straps continuing around from the front, and even some more strap detailing continuing from the back there to the side of the leg to the front. So one thing I always say about Ling is just the wraparound and continuous printing is always very impressive. They do a good job of continuing details around. And it's kind of a bummer this head only comes in that dark pink. I would have loved to have seen this on Flash, because it's probably the face I would have much rather had as the default expression for the character. But since it's in that dark pink or magenta, probably not going to use that as much. So that's a bit of a bummer. Would have liked to have maybe gotten an extra head to have it in flesh as well. But you can't have an unlimited amount of parts. You know, prices will just keep going up, so I get it. But it's good to see with the torso that it still looks nice without the cape. Would have been annoying if they didn't print the back, just because it would be covered. So Ling's always going to go above and beyond, and it's kind of nice to get a look at this. And one more figure to go, so let's check it out, which is even going to be another fun concept, being Ego, being battle damage, like he got shot by Peter, like in the movie. So one of the arms is going to be transparent blue. There's some additional printing on it, and really it is just going to be the same figure with a bit of battle damage. Hairpiece is going to be the exact same, but cut in half. So that's an interesting concept. I think that is kind of fun to see. Top of that, you know, the head is going to be the exact same, just with blue printed on the side. The wraparound on the head is very cool and great to see the actual continued detail all the way around. Just thinking about some Lego Spider-Man figures that don't have that level of detail. Good to see it here. And I got it just for this video. I have a black light to show off some of the extra detailing you get when you shine UV onto the figure, where it just glows a bit more. So that's a cool extra effect that they did. You can see it a little bit better now that all the lights are off. That goes onto the front, onto the arm, and the back of the torso, where it just looks like it has that energy pulsing effect going throughout it. So that's a cool effect. I'm glad I can finally take a look at these sort of inks when they get included. I've had a couple of figures in the past where I wasn't able to show that off on camera. Now you get the full effect of what the figure looks like. Not much to say about this, since it is basically the same figure again. But great concept, great execution. Let's go ahead and go into the comparisons and the final verdict. I'll definitely say when it comes to Ling, I'm always very happy. You can see a lot of passion behind what they make, especially in the case of a creative solution for Ego, like the planet piece from the Star Wars set. So definitely got to point that out, as well as just nice molded parts that do the job. And it's great to be expanding the custom Guardians of the Galaxy line. A lot of figures that are in pre-order limbo right now, but getting another villain that was not made by Lego is great. Going along with that Phoenix Customs figure there, that was my first custom minifigure ever. And of course, now I'm just looking for a pad-printed high evolutionary figure to complete the main villains sort of trio. So hopefully someday. And it's just great getting some fun comic, and even in this case, MCU versions of characters by Ling. They always do a great job when it comes to printing, as well as just, like I already said, molded parts that look great. I think one of the most fun concepts about these figures is getting, the normal hair sculpt on the one version, and such a cool concept, half of the hairpiece on the other one. On top of that, the glow effect with the black light is also a nice addition, and I do really like the transparent blue arm. And while getting the pink head for the main version, I do think I would have rather had the more neutral expression on a flesh head, just because that's going to be more useful. I don't think I'll ever put the pink head on the minifigure other than in this review. So kind of a lost print there, but I understand why they did it. Sure, you got to tie it in with the actual planet. Makes sense to me. And I'm excited for more collabs with Bob's Customs, as well as, Ling here. I have a couple more coming, so keep an eye out for those reviews. And if you want to see more custom LEGO Marvel reviews or custom LEGO videos overall, check out the videos on my channel. I've been Brick Radiap. I'll see you in the next video.